We're getting a new Mega Man game in 2027 called Mega Man Dual Override. And I know this is something that's not really news to a lot of people because it was announced like days ago. But it's shocking that we're getting a new Mega Man game in 2027, mainly because a lot of people were under the impression that the series was pretty much finished. Mega Man 11 came out back in 2018. I think that was the last mainline entry within the series. And that game ended up being the best selling entry in the series. And I think that game did like 2 mil in terms of sales. And honestly, on one hand, that's good. But on the other hand, Mega Man's been around since the late 80s, I think, or yeah, like the late 80s, because I think the original Mega Man game came out in 1987. And and I don't know, I always felt like for the most part, Mega Man had this like niche appeal to like hardcore gamers who were fans of 2D run and gun type of games. And and I don't know, like I feel like Mega Man is something that doesn't really appeal to casuals as much as it should, even though a lot of people know what Mega Man is or they've heard of it at least once. And and a lot of people are looking at this upcoming Mega Man game as like a big comeback of some sorts because it seemed like for the past couple of years, Mega Man's been completely irrelevant to a point where people felt that Capcom just, they either hated Mega Man or they just weren't fans of the IP because it wasn't profitable. Now, granted, like Mega Man Dual Override looks interesting, and it's a game that takes place 100 years, I think, after the last Mega Man game. In this game, Mega Man's supposed to be older, and I guess Dr. Wheely's going to be involved in this because this is the main series, and in the main series, he like he's like the main antagonist and all that. It's supposed to be a new threat in this game for like regarding an ancient robot society that's supposed to be unleashing a virus to take control of newer robots. But since Mega Man is a little bit more aged, like the virus doesn't affect him at all. And there's speculation as to like who's going to appear in this game or who playable characters might be. A lot of people feel that characters like Proto Man, Roll, and Bass might end up being playable characters in this game, and I think that would be something that would make Dual Override a little bit more interesting because having just Mega Man as a playable character, after a while it gets kind of boring. But while there are people who are excited about Dual Override, a lot of people are pissed that we never got like a Mega Man X9 or it's something that Capcom never announced. But I feel like Capcom, for the most part, had ruined the Mega Man X series like so much towards like the end to a point where they're just trying to stay away from it. A lot of people will go on record and tell you that Mega Man X4 from like 1997 was probably like the last like really good Mega Man X game. After that, it started going downhill. Um, Mega Man X5, 6, 7, and 8 honestly weren't among people's favorites. A lot of people like the original three Mega Man X games from the SNES era. Mega Man X4 was okay. Mega Man X5 from I think 2000 wasn't completely bad, but it could have been better. Um, yeah, like I honestly feel like Capcom's going to do whatever they can to try and promote Mega Man Dual Override going into 2027, and they're going to do everything they can to try and make sure more people are invested in the Mega Man IP in the series, especially considering the fact that 2027 is going to mark the 40-year anniversary of the series in general. But but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the gameplay and graphics and all that other stuff. Honestly, it looks like based off of what I've seen in the trailer, it looks exciting. I know that we have a new director, for this upcoming game because the original director he left back in like late 2010 due to creative issues, and he was the one who did Mighty Number 9 from 2016, which I don't know, ended up being a massive flop. The music was the best thing about the game. The graphics and didn't really the graphics and gameplay really didn't connect with a lot of people, and you could just look at Mighty Number Nine and just tell it was a cheap knockoff of the Mega Man series. And the guy who was the director of um, Mega Man 11, I can't remember his name. I think he had left as well. So I guess we have like a new director for this upcoming game, and I'm not sure who that person is. But but yeah, like for the most part, I feel like this upcoming Mega Man game has the potential to be as big as Mega Man 11 or to be as successful as Mega Man 11. And I don't see this upcoming game selling more than like, 2 or 3 million copies worldwide because of its niche appeal and the fact that, Mega Man for the most part doesn't really attract mainstream attention. I feel like if this game was coming out in 2026, it would probably stand out a little bit more because there's not a lot of high profile games coming out next year other than GTA 6 and I guess the Marvel token game. But yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like Mega Man Dual Override has the potential to be one of the more high profile games of 2027. And I honestly feel like depending on how this game does, it's going to determine the future of the franchise, whether or not Capcom decides to continue making another entry or if they're just going to stay away from it for a while. Because obviously, Capcom has more profitable IPs. They got Devil May Cry, they got, Monster Hunter. They got, Street Fighter. They got a lot of, profitable IPs that dwarfs Mega Man in terms of popularity. But it's nice to see that Capcom hasn't completely given up on the Mega Man series. And hopefully one day they do decide to make a Mega Man X9 or to just reboot the X series because honestly, I always felt like the Mega Man X series was more interesting than the main series with Sigma being as a villain and all that other stuff. But yeah, I mean, Mega Man for the most part has the potential to be back in the spotlight once again. And I do feel that it's going to be one of those things where if Capcom markets and hypes up this upcoming game the right way, it could end up exceeding many people's expectations in terms of overall sales.